Well, so the Prime Minister has promised to make the environment the centrepiece of Britain's presidency of the G8 in 2005. President Bush, of course, we were saying, refused to sign up for Kyoto, saying it'd be too costly. With me live in the studio, Dr Paul Toyne, who's from Article 13, a group who work with government and business on climate change. Paul, Peter's saying there, what can we do about it? It is a difficult question, isn't it?
Not really, no, because it's all about converting and changing the energy and going from a carbon economy, if you like, to one which is a renewable, so it has no carbon. If we reduce...
Do we go to a nuclear economy?
I would suggest not, because we should revisit the issue in terms of nuclear waste, and there's a real question mark on safety here. And I think the precautionary principles suggest that that's not the option. We should continue with our investment in renewables. OK, so how do you sell that to business? Because that's presumably one of your concerns. It is. The challenge that Tony Blair has is to provide incentives to business whereby they can actually make those changes, put in place those changes, and actually still remain competitive. And that's why it's very important that everybody throughout the world actually moves at the same speed and is on the same playing field, if you like. Because if the UK makes all these changes and nobody else is doing it, then we actually lose out in terms of the costs that we're incurring.
We'll come to how the world reacts in a moment, but suppose you're the boss of a company making car parts and listening to you today use more renewable energy. What do you do?
Well, funnily enough, there's been a number of businesses that have actually inquired and said, we'd like to source renewable energy, but the energy providers aren't in a situation to provide the right types of energy for them. So there's this issue about supply and demand. In addition to that, actually, businesses are responding, and they're responding because they can save costs here. It's all about energy efficiency.
But if they're not being given the renewable energy to use by the suppliers, they can't do anything, can they? So it's back to the suppliers. Now, what should they do? Set up more wind farms or tidal power or what? Well,
the issue here, and it goes back to the comment the previous speaker made about what happened in terms of investment in the 1980s. And actually, the Conservative Party, when they were in power then, chose not to invest in renewable sources of energy. And it wasn't an issue about climate change, it was an issue of fossil fuels running out. And so we really missed the boat. So there's other governments or countries like Japan, like Germany, that have actually invested in this technology and are able to sell it to us rather than us produce it and use it.
All right, but what's the incentive? You say the world must move ahead at the same pace. It'd be lovely if it did. But what's the incentive? How do you make countries like America buckle down and move at the speed you want them to?
I tell you what the incentive is, and it's happening right now. It's the loss of lives. We've had 20,000 people die last year in Europe alone because of the droughts. It's the most vulnerable that get affected. We've had forest fires. We've had people dying in Grenada. We've had huge amounts of investment needed to clean up these areas. If you remember the flooding that happened in Germany and Austria last year, billions of euros spent there. How much more money has to be thrown at this? Better, actually, thinking about prevention rather than the cure, let's try and sort this problem out at source and invest that type of money on renewable energy and other efficiency mechanisms to improve the situation.
Dr Toyne, Paul Toyne, thanks very much indeed. Thank you.